I started this one on the 19th, and even though it looks like a relatively simple image, or perhaps because it's a relatively simple image, I really struggled with how to enhance it. There's lots of red and pink and white. And so eventually I got the idea to go around in a darker colour, like a brown, with some of the edges to bring out the features. This is me looking at Tefnut, or Tefnut as I like to call her, the daughter of Ra or Aten, married to her brother Shu. Her name may be connected to the concept of spitting, or the word spit, and she's connected to moisture, although there's very little information that I can find. She's depicted at the head of a lioness, which is likely why I've essentially drawn what looks like a cat lounging. She looks very chill. These colours of red, pink kind of relate to the sun. So just to look a little bit closer at her face, there's like two characters off to the left in kind of pink. Could be related to her children, Geb and Newt. Top right, it looks a bit shell-like, also a face. And there's a seated figure over her left eye. The seated person hieroglyph, I think, depicts something like royalty. And there's a couple of symbols down by her neck area, possibly ladder-like. So this is over to the right, which is like her main body. I can see two seated figures there, just relaxing. There's perhaps a smaller cat beneath them. One of them is resting their hand on like a little mound, which possibly depicts this idea of a womb. So this is her paw or foot. There's likely a reason why I've drawn them so prominent, which I'm sure will become clear at some point. And I can see a figure off to the right-hand side in the swoosh, I guess, of her tail maybe. Sort of ethereal floating there. And then maybe a little bird off to the left that's got its mouth wide open. I was intrigued by this sort of phallic-shaped pyramid that she's got about halfway down her body there. And there's this sort of pink, snaky-like part of her that's looping around on the bottom, and the head comes up on the left, right next to that little ladder. There's also quite a swooshy, ethereal figure there in the sky, sort of speaking to me about making this connection with the spirit world and the physical world at the same time. And this is just her face turned to the side. It looks a bit like two figures on the left-hand side, stick figures, to the right of which is the pi symbol, and then kind of a swooshy person where I said Geb and Newt were, above which is a very shadowy version of Newt's table position, holding up the sky. Pi comes from pe, and a pictogram of a mouth, which is fa in Arabic, which may relate to the F sound, so there's a connection to speaking. I'm sure she's revealing more than I've noticed, but I think it's quite a nice picture to look at because she looks very serene. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe.